Hey guys, we're here in Deansboro, New York at the annual Destination Create Festival. We have crafters, vendors, musicians, artists, and lots of activities happening here. Right now we are hanging with fantasy and fictional author Jordan Elizabeth. Hello Jordan.
Hello.
Thank you for hanging with us.
No problem, this is fun.
So tell us about your latest book.
Well, my latest book is book 3 in the Treasure Chronicles, and I have with me book 1. Book 3 is still the same steampunk world. There's Wild West, there's ghosts, but there's also some bit of a conspiracy theory with the president. In the series, Clark is able to drink a potion. He thinks it's absinthe, but it actually gives him the ability to talk to ghosts and communicate with them. So in book 3, you get a lot more about where that came from, things like that, and also if it's going to affect his daughter.
Oh, that sounds so interesting. Where do you get your ideas from for your books?
Usually when I fall asleep, I have this great dream, and then I wake up and I start writing it down.
Oh.
Like last night I dreamt about a spider that had my cat's face on it, and I woke up and I'm like, that has to be in a book.
That's so cool. So what's your writing process like?
Well, I tried to plan things out, but then that just doesn't go anywhere and I start veering way off. So I just have an idea of the world and the characters, and then from there I just start writing and I see where it takes me, and 90,000 words later I'm like, okay, I have this book. Yeah. And sometimes I move on and go on to book 2 if they just don't want to let me go.
Oh. Who or what are your favorite influences?
It would have to be Maria V. Snyder. She's the author of Poison Study, and she's always just supported me. I wrote to her after I read that book. I told her how much I liked it, and she came back and she's kept in touch ever since, and she's given me advice, and she even came and talked to the Utica Writers Club, which was wonderful.
That was, yes. What was your favorite book as a child?
My favorite book was The Seventh Princess, and I can't remember the author right now, but that was definitely my favorite book. The first chapter book I ever read.
Did you always want to be a writer, or did you just fall into it one night?
I always wanted to. I would have those, like the Berenstain Bear books,
yes.
And we would go shopping and they'd hand it to me in the stroller, and I would start making up the story, and people would come up and say, oh, she can read? She's like 2. And my mom would say, no, she's just making up the story.
So when did you begin writing?
Well, I began way back. I would talk into a tape recorder and my grandmother would write it down for me, which was so nice of her, and I don't know how she knew what I was saying. But then after that I tried handwriting, but my handwriting is awful and I'm a really slow writer. So then I got a computer in junior high and I just took off. And
Oh, that's awesome. Has your writing changed since you published your first book?
It has gone more toward romance. My editors have always geared me into, you should write romance for young adults, because that's what young adults want to read about. So now my stories do have more of a romantic theme than before when they were just fantasy.
Oh. Was it difficult getting your first book published?
Yes. I queried over 4,000 agents before I found my agent, and the book was actually Cogling. And she kept sending it out to different publishers, and it was always, you know, this is sort of like something else we have, or at this time we're not looking for more steampunk. And then I got in with Curiosity Quills, and many of my books are with Curiosity Quills, and I also have a few published with CHBB Press and Clean Reads.
Is there an author you admire now as an adult?
Probably still Maria, just because I used to always write to the authors whenever I finished their books, and she was the only one that ever wrote back, and it was very personal. It was, you know, let me know, I know that you're an aspiring author, just let me know if I can ever be of any assistance, and I still keep in touch with her, and she's always so happy to recommend things to me or help me, and she's given me a lot of quotes for my books. So she's an incredible person.
Yes, she sounds like it. So what's coming up for you? Do you have anything in the works on your next book?
Well, right now in next month I have a book coming out. It's going to be a collection of short stories. And next March 9th I have another book coming out from CHBB. And so far I've had a book come out every March with them. So when she asked me about what date I might like, I said something in March, because that's my thing with you is I always have a book coming out in March.
And where can people find your books?
They can find them on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere books are sold. And you can also get them off my website, and I will personalize them and give them to you. And send them to you after I personalize them.
All right. Oh, it's time for clickbait. Harry's telling us it's clickbait time. Do you know what clickbait is?
No.
Clickbait is when you are on the internet and you click on a link and you want to go somewhere, but it takes you completely different.
Oh, okay.
So what these are girls in Florida have scoured the internet looking for questions that internet people want to know. Some are silly, some are crazy off the wall. So let's see, we have, you've been kidnapped. The last characters of the TV show you watched are coming to save you. Who's coming to save you?
I watched that Bill Nye, so I guess Bill Nye is coming to save me. There could be worse people. I think you do well.
Who is your hero?
Wow, my hero? Probably I'm going to go back to Maria, just because she's been such an inspiration. She's a New York Times best-selling author. So other than that, I can't think of a hero.
It's fantastic. Is there one thing you constantly lose?
Everything. I'm always saying to my husband, I'm like, where did I put something?
We have another question. If you could interview 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
I would interview ancestors. Oh, that would be awesome, going back in time.
Yes.
I've been researching my family tree, and I found out that my grandmother's family were the first Dutch settlers. And then they traced back, and according to the internet, I'm related to like Richard III and those people and the Plantagenets. So that'd be fun to like go back and interview them.
Those sounds like good books.
I know. I'm trying to. I've been working on different historical fiction books based on them, but I keep stopping because I'm like, I don't know this person, if they would have really acted like that. Or
right.
But all my books, they do have a character named after one of my ancestors. So I always make sure to put something in there.
That's a nice little tidbit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been so fun hanging with Jordan Elizabeth today. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think of today's show and our guest. You can also check our guest link below. Remember to subscribe, log in, and stay tuned to see who we're hanging with next. Thank you. That was so fun.